President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, keynote speaker is Murtaza Japaju, chairman of the Agricultural Institute, Mr. John Gallagher Silva, President-elect, the chairman of the 39th Annual President, the Secretary of the OPA, Ashwin Mahmood, Treasurer of the OPA, President, past presidents. Mr. John Gallagher is the 45th President of the of Sri Lanka, better known in 1775, the OPA, including the 38th Annual Conference.
The world is changing rapidly, and Sri Lanka must anticipate change rather than simply respond to it. This requires investment in education, research, innovation, entrepreneurship, digital capability, and the development of young professionals. At the same time, progress must be built on integrity, accountability, and strong governance.
When professionals from diverse fields come together with a shared purpose, they create more than a gathering. They create a platform for national transformation. The 39th Annual Conference of the Organization of Professional Associations of Sri Lanka represents precisely such a moment. It is not merely an annual event in the calendar of a professional organization. It is a reflection of the collective voice, wisdom, and responsibility of Sri Lanka's professional community.
Thank you so much for inviting me also to be part of this evening and part of this occasion. I'm very pleased to be here with all of you at the inauguration of the 39th Annual Conference of the Organization of Professional Associations of Sri Lanka. At the very outset, I would like to congratulate the OPA for convening this very important forum, for bringing together professionals from across diverse fields to exchange knowledge, share expertise, and contribute to shaping Sri Lanka's future at this very critical and transformative moment in our country's history. I also take this opportunity to acknowledge the leadership and service of the outgoing president and extend my sincere appreciation for the commitment and dedication demonstrated during your tenure. I also wish the president-elect every success as you undertake this very responsible and important position. Engineers, architects, and planners contribute to infrastructure development, urban planning, transport systems. Our professionals play a huge role in our country's history and have always done so in the past and in the presence. And OPA has been a particularly important organization in bringing all of these professional bodies together. And as was mentioned, and as we saw in the documentary, there have been very many key moments in our history and in our past where OPA has intervened meaningfully with a broader vision for the country. And I thank all of you, the OPA in particular, for its service to the nation. The past few years have been, as we all know, a period of significant challenge for Sri Lanka and its people. We have faced many economic, social, and institutional challenges that affected public confidence, created uncertainty for citizens, businesses, and investors. However, as we look towards the future, we must recognize that recovery alone cannot be our ultimate goal. Recovery provides a foundation, but its transformation determines, it is transformation that determines whether a nation can achieve sustainable progress. The theme of this year's conference, Envisioning Sri Lanka Beyond Recovery, I think is particularly apt to capture that sentiment and captures this particular moment in our national journey. It reminds us that our ambition must extend beyond restoring stability. We must focus on building a country with stronger institutions, a more dynamic and inclusive economy, more responsive public services, and a society where every citizen has the opportunity to contribute, participate, and benefit from progress and from development. Our aspiration is not to simply return to where we were or some imagined past where everything was wonderful, but to build a Sri Lanka that is respectful of our heritage, respectful of our past, but imagines a more resilient, innovative, inclusive, confident country. Achieving this vision requires more than economic growth or physical infrastructure. It requires institutions that function effectively, governance that earns public trust, and a collective commitment to using knowledge and expertise for the common good. This is where professionals, organizations such as the OPA have such a vital role to play. The contribution of professionals to national development is reflected across every area of public policy and governance. All of you have something to contribute, have contributed, and I have no doubt will continue to contribute as we move along on this journey. But I want to make use of this opportunity to also request that when we think about our contribution and when we think about how we can be part of this transformative journey, I would request that we reflect, we use this moment to reflect also on a few important questions. I think the President-elect posed a very important question in his speech. What kind of Sri Lanka do we really want? What kind of society do we imagine? I think that's the most important question that we need to answer today. What is it that we imagine? What is the kind of country we imagine for our children, for our grandchildren? I think once we imagine that, then we can work backwards and figure out how we want to get there. But we need to have that dream and we need to imagine that country. And in that imagination, I think we also need as professionals, as professional associations, to ask what is the role of professionals and what is the role of professional associations in getting to that dream, in achieving those goals. Traditionally, when you talk about professional associations, you tend to think of professional associations as very exclusive groups that are focused on the interests of that particular group. Yes, they would extend themselves to thinking about quality and increasing their professionalism, but it's still a conversation that's, in a way, very exclusive. It happens within a certain group of people who think of themselves as very special in that particular sector. But I think what OPA's theme, if we look at what OPA's theme is this evening, and if we think about what it is our country needs right now, it is to be able to think beyond our professional interests or the interests of our professional group or association, and think beyond into asking ourselves what is good for our country at large, not just what is good for us, what is good for our association, what is good for our profession at this moment in time, but indeed what is good for our entire country at this moment in time. And I think this is where OPA's strength and potential can be extremely useful because OPA is not constituted of any one association or organization or representing any one group or interest, but is a collective and is perfectly situated in a way to be able to think beyond the narrow interests of one particular group and to really look towards the entire country. This critical moment that we are talking about is one where, as a government, we are committed not just to continuing things as we are with a slight improvement, where governance is improved and there's less corruption, less wastage. Yes, all of that is important and needs to happen and is being done, but that we are not satisfied just with just an improvement in how things have happened, but we look upon our mandate as a transformative mandate. It's to really address some of the issues or the problems that have been haunting us for decades, and to think of different ways in which we could address some of these issues. And in doing so, that means looking deep within our institutions that have perhaps been sacred almost for many years or decades, thinking of procedures and formulas and processes and the hundreds and thousands of circulars and constitutions that determine how things are done in this country, but really reflecting whether these institutions and processes are serving what they were intended to do. And I think one of the most important questions that we need to ask ourselves, especially as professionals, a comparatively privileged group of people, is how, and a powerful group of people, is precisely how we can make people with power more accountable, responsive, and accessible to people in this country, to all citizens in this country. I think this is one of the key questions that we need to really grapple with today. As professionals, what kind of role models, what kind of legacies, what kind of examples do we want to set for the future, for our future generations? What does a more accessible, more responsive, more just country look like? What does it mean to be more democratic? What does it mean to have a better system of justice in this country, a system of justice that is accessible, that is responsive? What does it mean to live in an inclusive society? All of these questions, I mean, we need to go beyond these words and actually think about what they really mean and what it could look like. So this is why I think this is a very important moment, in that this is when we have to reflect, answer those questions, and then work towards reimagining our country and actually making that country, making sure that the country that we work towards is one that we can all feel part of and that we all feel that we can be included in. In technology, we often talk of disruption, and disruption as something positive. Unfortunately, when you're talking about a country, that's not always possible. You can't sort of turn the whole apple cart upside down. A country is responsible for many lives, many human lives, and therefore stability is also important and something that needs to be protected, which is why when you're transforming countries, we have learned from historical experiences that it needs to be gradual, it needs to be sustained, but we also need to be decisive, and we also need to be ambitious, and we also need to, plan our transformation in ways that doesn't disrupt lives in ways that then would lead to suffering or more problems for people. Which is why I think that that at this particular moment also, the government initiatives, government projects, government policies are leading to lots of debate and discussion and dialogue. And that is entirely natural and entirely acceptable, because in a journey that is looking to for transformation, then it's inevitable that that transformation will evoke discussion and debate and dialogue. It's not something that can happen seamlessly without any discussion or any kind of debate. And again, this is why I think forums such as this and associations such as this can be so useful in ensuring that those dialogues and those debates take place. One of the most important things I think that our system needs to really acknowledge and deal with as a country is, I think we all have to accept the fact that our country has been organized around a system of privilege and power, where a few people had access to resources, to power, and to privileges. And now this is the moment when we really need to think about how that power and those resources and the privileges that was contained within a few can be made more accessible to all citizens, and we can build a more inclusive and equitable society. This, I think, is the greatest challenge, because it would mean a huge adjustment, especially from those who have been used to a particular system where they take those privileges and powers for granted. I think at this moment, Sri Lanka has every reason to be ambitious. We don't need to set our targets low. Our greatest strength has always been our people. We have a tremendous potential for developing our human capital, a tremendous potential for really advancing our human capital. We have strong traditions of learning, of education, a huge value for education, for public service. And we have a tremendously vibrant younger generation full of creativity, energy, and determination. The task before all of us is to create the conditions where this potential can be fully realized. No single sector can achieve this alone. Not the government, not the private sector, not professionals. We can't do this alone. Each of us has an important role to play. Sustainable progress depends on partnerships built on trust, mutual respect, shared responsibility, and a common commitment to national interest. Our government remains committed to creating an environment for creating the conditions where innovation can flourish, institutions can be strengthened, entrepreneurship can grow, and young people can access the opportunities they need to succeed. At the same time, we are firmly committed that development must be inclusive and responsible, ensuring that economic progress is accompanied by social well-being, environmental sustainability, and opportunities for all communities, particularly communities that have been historically marginalized and excluded. This is where I think the role of professionals now and in the country that we are creating together must accept that as professionals we have a broad public responsibility. Technical knowledge and expertise are essential, but it must always be accompanied by integrity, ethical leadership, and a commitment to serving society. The future of Sri Lanka will be shaped by the strength of our institutions, the quality of our partnerships, the integrity of our professionals, and our collective ability to work together towards a shared vision. If we remain committed to these principles, I am confident that Sri Lanka can move beyond recovery towards lasting progress, building a nation that is more innovative, equitable, and inclusive, and prepared to embrace the opportunities of the future. Not just embrace the opportunities, but actually create those opportunities. I wish the Organization of Professional Associations of Sri Lanka every success in its 39th annual conference, and I know your deliberations over the coming days will be a valuable contribution to our shared journey, national journey. I wish you all the very best, a wonderful evening, and a very productive day tomorrow. Thank you very much.
You have some world-leading experts. You have tremendously strong representation in the field of architecture and accountancy, to name two fields that I've become familiar with. So congratulations on that. I wanted also to say a little bit about not only envisioning Sri Lanka but beyond recovery, but to say a bit about recovery, because Sri Lanka's recovery has been truly remarkable. I think I'm right in saying it's one of the fastest recoveries from a default that the world has ever seen. And of course, that's due to skillful leadership from the government, but I'm sure it's also due to the people in this room who have contributed in their way to the rapid recovery.